The show on the road. Hey, good morning. How are you
Welcome
doing?
to the Ashes to Rubies conversational podcast on life and recovery. And
a little bit more. You're going away?
Yes.
For the weekend. Woo! Party at the Rubies house. Ever thrown a party?
Oh yeah, I've thrown a few parties. Threw you a surprise party.
Oh,
doozy of a surprise
really
party.
Not what I'm referring to, but yes.
Did I ever throw a party at my parents' house when they were gone?
Yeah.
No, my parents never.
I didn't even do that, but I got caught for what I didn't do. Like I did do it, and I think it was Canada Day, and my parents were gone, and I invited, I just said, hey, my parents are gone, we can come back to my house and hang out. And so, but it wasn't
doing exactly what your parents would not allow you to do.
Yeah, ever again.
With
alcohol. They never left the house. They never left us alone after that. What's the hardest thing for you about going away?
None of it.
No, you love going away?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yes.
What's your hardest part? What's the biggest
packing.
Struggle? Packing?
Trying not to overpack. Typically, I don't really worry about overpacking unless I'm flying and someone has set limitations on me.
I don't think you need to not overpack.
Otherwise, I typically feel like I'll pack what I want.
Yeah, you're an adult.
I'm just going to take everything just in case.
I typically, when I go out of this house, I forget one thing. I remember Camp Iowa. I forgot underwear once for a week.
I know. Yeah. And all they had at the corner store in the town was little tidy whities.
That was a rough week. My hardest part about going away is the first night I can't sleep properly. And so I get very little sleep. And I heard a podcast about that is that and I don't know if it's gender specific, but for a person that goes away and sleeps in a different environment, the animal inside of them is on guard. And so this is a real thing, is that I'm on guard because I'm in a new surrounding. So I'm not getting my deep sleep. And when I heard that podcast about sleep, I was like, oh, that happens to me. And then the second night I'm fine.
Yep. Yeah. I typically sleep okay.
Well, good for you.
Because
I'm on guard.
There can be issues, but no, for the most part, I'm okay.
Yeah, because I'm guarding you all night.
I know. You are.
All right, let's get into our meditation. Thank you for joining us. Here we go. Oh, big word right off the hop. Complacency. What is complacency?
It's not being on guard. Complacency is like letting things be as they may and not really being intentional. Hey, my dryer's ready.
Not complete, resting on our laurels. Half measures, just half-hearted.
Things are just the way they're going to be,
but I think
I'm not going to try to make them any different.
Also has this I'm in denial of it. I think I'm trying, but I'm only half trying. Is there that?
No, I'm not even trying. No, there's no trying.
Oh, there's not even a try.
Complacent. If I'm complacent, things are just going to be the way they are, and I am just going to take life as it is.
The word place is in there, and the word comp is it being idle. No. I'm not moving anywhere. Yeah. I'm in one place. I'm complacent.
I would say so.
Oh no, we're running low on battery.
Right,
okay, do the reading.
Complacency is an enemy, easy to recognize in others, but difficult to admit in ourselves. It is rarely listed among the major human faults, yet it can hinder us in every form of our personal growth. Complacency simply means we're sure we're right, taking it for granted that our view couldn't possibly be wrong. It means judging others by what we think is right. It blocks our understanding and kindness and justifies qualities in ourselves that we wouldn't find tolerable in other people. Smug complacency is often at the root of dissension. Today's reminder: let me not be quite so sure that my thinking is always correct. Let me begin by being a little critical of my iron resolution to have things my way. I will keep my ears and my mind open to the ideas of others, even when they don't square with mine. Then I'll be opening the door to growth. Quote, my serenity does not depend on my winning every round in my battle with life. It does depend on my acceptance of others on their own terms. God, grant me that serenity.
Mm-hmm. So is complacency a form of denial?
I think that they're saying that denial can actually make it complacency worse if we're like in denial of the way we really are.
So would you say that complacency is a character defect?
They're saying it actually said it's rarely listed among the major human faults. But
so complacency would be a character fault.
Hinders our personal growth. So yeah, I would say that.
And it's something that I can't see in myself.
Complacency is not beneficial to our personal growth, or like it wouldn't be a beneficial quality.
It's not a beneficial quality in the spiritual life.
I for sure would say that I am a person who complacency is an issue. Has been an issue.
In the reading, it says that it's easily recognized in others. So do you see complacency in others pretty easily?
I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. Like, I'm not really sure that I'm seeing complacency. Like, I think, yeah, I don't know.
I find it easy to see it in other, like I can find it easy to see when people are coasting, because I think part of complacency is this coasting. Like I'm just riding along on a ride. I'm not putting any effort into it.
It drives you crazy.
And I think it's easy to see effort. Like I can see somebody's effort. It doesn't mean that they reach a different standard. Like I don't compare effort into outcome, but I feel like I can always see somebody's effort. Like, are you trying?
Here's the difficulty though in a family system is like, I can be super bothered by your complacency in a certain area, and you're really bothered by my complacency in a certain area, but it might not be the same area.
That's true. So
I might think I'm working really hard in certain areas, and I might be really grateful and thankful that these are areas that I'm growing in, and meanwhile it's driving you bananas that I'm not cleaning the house, or that I don't care what condition the house is in. And you're like fixing all the things outside and taking.
So then, how do I spot complacency?
But I'm like, well, you're not paying attention to your friendships. You're not making time for. You don't have value for friendships, and so I think we can have complacency in different areas.
So then maybe I can spot complacency when I have my plan. So just put it in a workout plan. So I can see complacency start coming in when I start making excuses for not waking up to work out, or not eating what I'm supposed to eating in my plan. And in the spiritual life, it's a life of structure and discipline and sacrifice. So when I'm in this life, I can start to see where I'm slipping. And that might hint on I might be complacent in certain areas.
Agreed.
And then I can see it in my relationships.
But I think the focus of this reading is telling us to stop pointing the finger at other people and pay attention to ourselves. I think that's the focus of this reading. So
then instead of everybody else seeing it, this reading is asking us to meditate on how am I being complacent?
Am I being complacent? Exactly. Because it starts off by saying it's easy to see it in others, but hard to see in ourselves. And that it often is at the root of family dissension, which I would think, as soon as I start like pointing out what I think you need to do differently, or, coming at you for whatever, or you start bringing stuff up with me, then now we're like,
the other part of complacency doesn't involve conflict. And so wherever there is no conflict, then the relationships aren't really, like every family is going to have conflict. But if we're complacent and don't want to enter into that arena, then we never really solve any problems, and we just grow further and further apart. So part of complacency in that arena, I would say family dissension, we're complacent on holding things.
Yeah, that's exactly what the second part of the reading was talking about, is like being willing to keep my mind open to the ideas of others, even when they don't square with mine. And so we can have conflict in a really healthy way by being willing to listen, and by being willing to consider what another person has said, and not be defensive and justifying and coming at them with our own, so I think I really agree with you, because I think there will be conflict in any relationship.
Mm-hmm.
There will be, and conflict always has this really negative connotation.
Mm-hmm.
But conflict, like simply being like, we see things differently. How do we approach that with each other? How do we talk that out? Because it's impossible to live really well with others, work really well with others, and never disagree on anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like
You
that's
just have to
actually
do
not
conflict
realistic.
better. Yeah.
How do we do disagreement and like difference of opinion really well? And
Mm-hmm.
you know, to think of like conflict not as this scary thing, but like actually like being willing to.
Because if you don't do conflict well, then you have division. And that's what the enemy wants, is
Right.
division and
Yeah.
isolation.
Yeah. People who are scared of conflict avoid people and then actually don't get
And we see
deeper.
that in COVID. There was so much division like I've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because we can't deal with conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the root of it, is it complacency? Is it fear?
Mm-hmm.
And what are the roots of that? So we leave you with that today. My friends, is let's pray into today and meditate on what's causing my complacency, or where am I being complacent? Where does God want to show us that we have roots of maybe fear? And maybe by the end of this day, you know, God's love will point that out to us. And then
in
maybe
ourselves,
on this,
not in others.
All right. Keep the peace, be of good behavior, and hopefully we'll see you on the weekend. Have a good trip. Party at John's house. What?